All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back today. This is March 7th. This is a Wednesday. Yesterday, Tuesday, I had off, so check my Canvas page for the stuff that you need to know for the video. If you go to actually, I'll cancel out of this screen right now. I'll show you my Canvas page, what it looks like. But if you go down, if you missed yesterday, which was the 6th, we did pretty much a video from these times right here. All right, and then we did just 20 facts on that particular section, lasted the entire class. And there are 6 topics covered in this. Some of these are longer than others, so you'll be able to see kind of how you can spread your points out. And then today, we do take some guided notes today, and I'm going to go over some of them here. So if you want to take a look at the notes packet, or the note sheet, it's only one page, it's not a packet, but take a look at the notes page, download this, print it out, or if you want to download it and fill it in, you can. Just make sure you have everything you need on that for this particular note sheet. Again, you go to my YouTube video, which is what I'm making right now. Go to the page to check that out, and then I have a video here, which is from this same video above. So if you go to 48:15 to 56:09, if you open this up, find those times. It does show up. You can kind of see where the video is. So 48:15. If I click on that, it's 48:09. And then you can kind of see the video from there. All right, so picks everything up, and you kind of see the battle for Africa, which is what this video talks about, which is what we cover in our notes. All right, so let me get to this quickly here because I want to make sure you don't get bored with me talking. So the bell ring for today asks if which enemy would you engage first if you're Roosevelt? Would you engage the Nazis over here? Would you engage the Japanese? And what reasons do you give for that? Pretty simple answer, and give your opinion based on what you believe is right in terms of World War II, in terms of how this war is playing out, who becomes the bigger threat. So take a look at that. Answer that question on your bell ringer sheets, and you can bring that in completed once you're done, all right? As of where we are right now, before America gets involved, we have to look at what Europe looks like. This is most of Europe right here, controlled by Nazi Germany. Parts of North Africa controlled by Nazi Germany. And you have Finland and also Norway, Denmark. You have all these countries that are controlled by the Nazis throughout the war. Now they're trying to bombard Britain. They're trying to take control of Britain, but they never get that opportunity. Hitler is also, as you found in the video yesterday, if you were here, invades Russia, breaks his pact with Stalin, and begins his assault. Now, we have to talk about how America first starts to retake. Now, on your book on page 600, if you go to the online book, or you can look at this, there's the setting the scene is called the Atlantic Charter section. So if you look at the setting the scene, read through that, there are several instances of what FDR and Churchill want to achieve if they do decide to go to war together. If they side with one another and become official allies. What do we want to see with this war? And then the question that I ask here, and it's on your notes page, if you download that, it asks you, what is one general idea you could take away from the principles given during the war? So, utilize that, take a look, and give me your answer based on that. A lot of what people thought was that America and Britain are trying to avoid the mistakes that were made after World War I, which caused Germany to go on this spiral downward, which pretty much leads to Hitler's uprising. So you want to prevent all this from happening again. Give Germany the ability to rebuild itself in its own image, not in somebody else's. All right, and that's kind of what we want to achieve. All right, so that's kind of what the Atlantic Charter kind of sets our goals aside for the war, because if we do go in together, we want to make sure we have the same goals. Now, first battle takes place. I'm going to put all these notes up here. Again, if you download the notes packet, you can see that there's a lot of stuff to go with this. This is pretty much the naval battle in the Atlantic Ocean against the German U-boat. Our ships, Britain's ships, against the German U-boat. Britain needs their supplies desperately. And in the early parts of the war, the German U-boat sinks over 54 million tons of stuff to the bottom of the Atlantic. It's a lot of stuff that's getting sent to the bottom. It's a lot of waste that's going on there as well. But Germany's trying to lead this war of attrition against Britain to make sure Britain pretty much starves itself, trying to sustain a defensive effort against their attacks on Britain, Germany's attacks on Britain. So we're trying to send our supplies over to help Britain out, and Germany's trying to take them out. We do start convoys and limit these losses. U-boats counter these convoys with their own convoys. They call the Germans, I believe, it's called Rudel tactic. It's a German word for wolf pack. So you send a wolf pack of U-boats, kind of metaphorically speaking, 20 plus at a time, and you coordinate an attack on each one has its own ship to target. So they have their own goals there, and they can achieve that. And in June of 1942 alone, you see 175 ships are destroyed through that point. Now, this is just an extra fact that you can see down here. But with the new radar technologies, you can add this as well. But with the long-range sub-hunting planes, we finally have radar technology and the range of planes to get us to a particular point out there in the Atlantic Ocean, so we can spot some of these submarines in the water using planes and tell our Navy where to go to destroy them. So, and we use these new radar technologies. And this is what the Battle for the Atlantic is all about. But again, if you want to go back, you can pause this video at any time, and look at the notes here if you need, some time to take these down. But I'm going to keep going through here so you can, you don't have to listen to my voice the entire time. This is what the map looks like. Obviously, this is where most of the destruction, maximum danger from the shipping is this section right here. But you can see the routes that are taken, from the British. Obviously, they leave from Bermuda. They go from other parts as well. They go all the way out here, and Britain is pretty much a tough spot to get to with the German U-boats. And again, when it comes to the barrier, the approximate, flights that are made at this point, of when the Germans can really spot you, but also it's where the point where the British can go out and send planes to try to spot these submarines, which is very difficult to do. So as you can see, it becomes very difficult to try to keep your ship safe at this point, and the losses are drastic. But eventually, the Nazis cannot sustain the amount of damages that eventually, with the new radar, this new radar helps us to damage some of the Nazi boats, Nazi submarines, and they cannot sustain rebuilding submarines to keep up with the amount of destruction that we're causing within their own production lines. They can't keep up with that. So that's a big problem that they face there, and one of the issues that we try to create is that we take out enough submarines. Germany can't sustain the effort to try to rebuild these submarines, put them back into action, and still destroy ships. So we technically win this battle because we have the ability to destroy their submarines, and then we have free reign in the Atlantic Ocean. Thus, our goods can come from the United States over to Britain and have no trouble whatsoever. All right. Next battle is for North Africa. Again, you can look at this section here. It's the first major land battle between American troops in World War II, and we can see that our troops are very inexperienced. They do not have the capacity to fight the way that the Germans do at this point, because we rushed to mobilize our forces. After Pearl Harbor, we got as many soldiers that volunteered or drafted as we possibly could, train them within a couple months, and then expect them to do well in a battle against a hardened Nazi opponent. It's difficult to do. Plus, the Germans are sending their best commander, General Erwin Rommel. He's known as the Desert Fox. He's pretty much Hitler's go-to guy when it comes to defending or leading offensive positions against the enemy. Rommel is a genius of military command. Dwight Eisenhower, on the other hand, not so much. In fact, there's a section of quotes said that Dwight Eisenhower, before this particular campaign in North Africa, had never heard or seen a bullet fired in anger his entire life, meaning that he's never been a part of these battles before, that men are really killing each other, and decisions that he's going to make are going to be life and death situations for certain amounts of troops that are American and allied. So this is definitely a very difficult stretch to be in for if you're the American. We lead Operation Torch, which is known as the greatest amphibious invasion to date. This is actually the practice one people look at when they think of Normandy. People think Normandy is the first time we led one of these invasions. No. The North African campaign, Operation Torch, and our invasion of North Africa is the practice. It does not go well because we suffer many defeats along these battles across North Africa, not only the invasion, but also sweeping across North Africa. Even though we do gain ground, we do suffer heavy losses. And Eisenhower had to learn from mistakes, and eventually does learn from those mistakes. The Allies are eventually trapped and captured, around 240,000 Axis troops, some of them being German, some of them being Italian, some of them being Vichy French. In fact, if I show you this part up here, the southern parts of France up north in this map here, you can kind of see, well, you can't see the map, but southern parts of France that are not occupied fully by Germans, they're actually supportive of the German, the Nazi party, and they fight for the Germans on behalf of that. But you can kind of see where the invasions take place. The British are also coming from the east westward across North Africa to where they can really trap the Germans here in Tunisia. All right, so when you see that, they push north. Now tomorrow I'll show you a video on this. In fact, the Canvas page will have the video already there. These times. So if you go to that video that we showed yesterday, show these and watch these times, and you kind of get a heads up on how this operation was the key for us to really say that we're ready to fight in Europe. All right, you've been a fantastic day. I will not be in class tomorrow. You'll be working on your veteran survey, so you take the time to do that and filling out your graphic organizers. All right, you guys have a fantastic day. I will see you on Friday.